All right.
Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are and wherever you're watching this. My name is Bernie. I'm in Melbourne, Australia. And we've all had a conversation, all the Digi chicks, with Patty, Tammy, Stephanie, and Linda, and myself. And we've decided that we're going to do things a little bit differently going forward. And once a month, we'll have one of the girls focusing on a particular item. We hope this gives everyone more of an opportunity to see what's happening with one particular item being made rather than trying to watch 3 different windows or 4 different windows. So we're giving this a go, and it'll get posted up onto the page and through Paddy's blog, and everything that's being made by Stephanie, Linda, myself, Tammy, Paddy, whoever makes something, they'll also be available for looking at on Paddy's blog. So all of that will be in the details down the track. So today I'm actually not making a card. I'm making for want of a better word, an impossible magic box. I've seen these on Pinterest. I've seen some on YouTube, but I went away and created this pattern in Silhouette software. So it's which I said it'll be available for the link. And then it was pretty. It wasn't too it stretched my capabilities a little, but we got there in the end. And this I've made is the one that I'm doing today. I've made on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock. I also made a template for one that can be used on a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock, which obviously will make the box a little bit bigger. But for today, this is the one I'm doing. The pattern paper that I'm using, so this is just regular cardstock. You can see, hopefully you can see, it's got some score lines in it. It's got some cut marks, some cuts and some score lines. The paper that I'm using, I got this from Creative Fabrica. It's from a person on there called Happy Watercolor Shop, and they've got some absolutely beautiful papers and designs in there. Now, this one is called Louisiana Flowers. She's got a whole bunch of different states of American flowers. I don't know if they're relevant to the actual state or if that's what she's just called them. I saw there was Vermont, there was California, there was Wyoming. But for me, I just absolutely love the pinks and the purples in the paper. And then using the Silhouette software, this piece, which I need, is the same as this piece, but I just used my scaling function to make it actually a bit bigger. So it's the same sheet, but I just made it a little bit bigger. And then also in the pattern in the Louisiana Flowers kit, there was some ones that I also cut and I scaled these up a little bit, which is the same flower as that's on here, but it's just scaled up much bigger, and that will sit on the top of my box. And the same as these two pieces, if you look, they're one of these flowers here that I also scaled up using the software. So it's all the one piece of paper that I've used, or the piece of design that I've used. But I just loved it. And then I picked this purple cardstock to match it. So that's the papers that I'm using. I also had this. This came in a paper kit that I'd bought ages ago, and it says you are fairly loved, fairy loved, not fairly, fairy loved. So it came with a kit all about fairies and things, which I didn't want for this particular piece. So I actually went on to the Silhouette software, kind of copied this, but made it my own. So I just drew a circle, drew some lines, and then an inner circle, put some hearts on. And this box is going to be a friend, and I just put on happy birthday. I could have curved the text, but I just wanted it left like that, and that'll be going on top of the box. So that was a purchased one, and that's one I made myself. So with the software, if you've got the Silhouette software, it's really quite powerful. So I'll use those as well. And this also came from Creative Fabrica, and this came from it's called Set with 5 Circle Monograms Frames One. Very weird name, but that's what it is. And this one is actually Circle Monogram One. When I got it from Creative Fabrica, this is hollow. I didn't want it to be hollow because this is actually going to go on top of that, and all I did was just add a circle and then welded it. So that's been cut with the my silhouette, my portrait. So it just goes to show it's quite fine. Yeah, you can see it. It's quite fine how it cut. You could, if you've got a die or something. I don't have dies, so I try to use the software for everything I've got. So that's what I'm going to be using today. The place that I was talking about, that Happy Watercolor Shop, if you wanted to make a card or something for a friend or that is into sewing, there's some absolutely stunning pictures of things related to embroidery. There's sewing machines, all clip art, but it is absolutely beautiful that I looked at, and I downloaded it, but I haven't done anything with it yet. So again, it's called Happy Watercolor Shop. I have no affiliation with it at all, but for me, I just love the stuff that that particular shop has. So with this cardstock, it's got score lines along there and there. Look, I don't know if you can see it. Let me just, you can see the score lines all along here, and then there's all score lines along here as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm using paper that is textured on one side and not on the other. I don't know if you can, sort of like linen-y look. So I know that's my front. If you weren't sure, because I've also cut it on a white piece which doesn't have any texture marks. For this one, I'm leaving the side that's got the cutout on the right-hand side of my desk. But so because this one doesn't have textured, I want to make sure it's that way up as well. But mine does have the texture. So the first thing I'm going to do is fold down up the first fold line here down, and I'm going to, no, it's not scoring properly. There we go. And so I'm just going to, so back to this way, and that's going to be the top of my box. So this is the bottom of the box. It'll all get folded up. This is the top of the box, and that hasn't scored properly there. So just make sure that it's lined up here and across there. Now inside here, there are some further score lines. So some become mountain and some become valley. So for those that aren't aware, this is a valley because it goes up. If it was that way, it would be a mountain. So mountains peak, the valleys are the lower. So this has got to come down, and then all of these will become the opposite. So that's a mountain, and then that's a valley. So I now have the mechanism in place for the box. It's a very simple to put together. There's gluing involved. I haven't made this with tape. I don't know if it'd hold up properly with tape. Maybe some of the red tape that I don't have might do, but it gets quite a big workout. So the stronger the glue or the tape, the better. So now I've got my box, the top of it looking like that. So it kind of looks like a W. Okay. And now the easiest thing to do is to put my paper on while it's in its flat position. So this is there's a bottom bit here. So you can either fold all those up so they're out of the way, and then you actually get to see where the bottom is. This will become the base of the box. So you're not gluing anything on the base of the box. So this is the front part of the box. So we've got one that will go there, and then we've got the taller bits for the side, and another bit there and there. Now you can either make sure that they're lined up the same way. You don't have to. I'll show you afterwards one I made also with some paper that I got from Creative Fabrica. It was directional, so it didn't matter which way I put it, but if you do have a directional, it would matter which way you cut the paper. If you were having, I don't have one on my desk. If you were having, you wouldn't want to cut a directional and then the picture be going sideways. So just have a look when you are cutting which way you want to put your paper. So that's it. So now I'm just going to glue those down. So I'm using, this is the Australian glue. It's called Helmer's 450, which I think is equivalent. It's a silicon-based glue, so it sets quite firm. It's very similar to a lot of the other glues that are out there, but I just find for me, this one doesn't warp my paper. But any strong glue that you're comfortable using. And I'm just lining this up down the bottom. And so it's got about, and there's a score line there, which you might not be able to see. So I'm just going to keep it off the score line and just off the bottom, about 1/8 of an inch. Now, some people like having a 1/4 inch all around. I don't. I actually like seeing more of the pattern paper than paper. So when I've cut this, I've just made it cut to 1/8 inch around. So again, I'm just putting this on. Again, lining it up with this one now, keeping within the score lines. And just moving it over a fraction, just making sure that it's all lined up, because that's what you'll see is, you know, down the bottom. It's a bit cold here today, so my glue is a little bit, I warmed it up just before I ran it under the hot tap to get it, make it a little bit more fluid, but it's wanting to be a bit painful today. Now, as I said, do I want it exactly the same as this? Probably, so I'm going to line it up the same way. I don't think it would matter with this pattern though, if I didn't line it up properly. There's that one. I'll just turn this around for ease. And more glue. Oops, I've gone over there with the glue. I'll use my magic rubber when that's a bit dry to remove some of that glue. I moved it down after. So this part here is where the box will shape. So up here, I will now put, and I'll put these on now too while it's somewhat in flat position. Now what will I do? No, I'll line it up this way. Even though it's got the bulk under there, I will line it up. Something's not right there. That's the line I want, that one. And you can see the top, the bottom of the top of the box just comes down here, and this part's left blank. So when you're actually opening the mechanism, this edge here doesn't catch on that paper. If it was, I did do one actually, which I'll show you after, that's got an extension right up here. I'm not having any trouble catching it because it was very thin paper I used on top. If you were using a thick paper, you could risk catching it. So these ones I'm just going to put on the top of the box. Is there a right or wrong way with this one? No, probably not. So it's just personal preference. And I'm going to line that one up. So these form the top front, and these little ones, which I've cut, I think they're 1.25 inches square, they form the side top. Again, I'll put that there. This one, again, is the front or the back, the front or the back top, whichever. the same way. Now, you can use any paper. If you use paper you've already got cut. I did the one I made with the 12 by 12. I actually had the paper. I didn't print any, but I just wanted to. I saw this paper on Creative Fabrica and really wanted to try something with it, so I went with that. So that's my gluing of my layers done. Like I said, I've got one of these glue erasers. I know Tammy's mentioned previously you can get them at the Dollar Tree. We don't have a Dollar Tree, so I just bought this from a craft shop, and you can see it's pretty grotty, but it comes up really good. You can pick all those bits off, but it removes any glue residual really easily. And I'll just take that glue off that. And I've used this on glitter, as you can see, so I'm leaving some glitter bits. And there's a bit of glue down there. So it just removes the glue residue from the card. Okay, so now we've got to fold the box. Now I'm just folding them over, and then I'll use my burnishing tool in a minute. I'll use my bone folder, but that's the pieces. Right, so now I've got, you can see roughly the shape of the box is going to be, when we get there, is going to be, I've missed a bit here. So this needs to get folded down. There's the shape of the box starting to come together. So that's how it'll be. And then that gets glued around as well. And then it all works from there. So that's the shape of the box, how it's going to come together when we glue it. And then they're the bottom bits that get folded. So it'll have a front, two sides, and a back. And usually the back, depending on how I go with my gluing, will be the bit that's got, because this is the last bit that gets glued and it's a little bit tricky, that'll become my back, so it's not as obvious, I hope. So this bit here, so I will now burnish these down properly with my bone folder down there. There, and where are we here? There, and these bits down here. So we've got that bit, and then this bit is after. I'll also fold these up so they fold properly when I ask them to, and then we'll go from there. So now this bit, we'll leave in that up position for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue along this edge here. And just take your time with, getting the glue in the right spots. And what I'm going to do is fold this over at the, so we've got 1, 2 at the second crease line. Just leave them out of the way and just fold that down like that into position. Make sure it's, held down and dry, that it's even on both sides. It's a little bit, and just, this is a quick drying glue. So if you've got a slow drying glue, I've also got this glue. Personally, I'm not a big fan of it. For some reason, I end up with it all over my hands and it's quite tacky. I know a lot of people use it. This one's got a small nib and like a bigger one, but for some reason, even I've got glue on this and it's all sticky. But if that's what you've got, that's what you've got. So there's my edge. Just making sure that it's stuck down before we go adding anything else. So, and there's our box so So there's what it's starting to come together like. And now we're going to do the bottom. So we're going to, and when we do glue it, we've got to make sure that our box is aligned properly, so we don't end up with it looking like that on the bottom, or, you know, that it's not quite meeting. So again, just take your time with it. So we're going to put glue on these two and one side. So I'm just putting glue on here, on the other side, on this side. Okay, so as you can see, I've got glue on the two pointed bits and one on one side. This bit's coming up first, and we're going to make sure that it's sitting straight on this edge, these two edges, and then folding that one over. Just make sure it's all lined up and straight, so we should have no bits hanging over, and just hold it in place there for a couple of seconds until it grabs. And you know, there's no rush. If you really wanted to, I haven't, you could put another piece of paper underneath, but you know, that's the bottom of the box, so I don't see the purpose in it. So when I think it's dry, now you can put your ruler in or something down the bottom to make sure those two tabs have also grabbed and stuck down that we put the glue on. Okay, now this bit is going to get glued and put in there like that. So like I said, this is probably the most tricky part. And we'll go from here. And then this part becomes the magic part. So the box at the moment looks like that. And then we're going to push it down. Whoops, push it down. No, what are we doing? Hang on, something's not right. What have I done? I don't think I've got that bit folded. I think it's got to come out here. I haven't, might not have. Let's put it together and see what I've done. So some glue on there, tucking it in under and lining it up. Lining it up in underneath there. And we'll just hold that in place and see how we go. Could be disastrous, but it's paper and glue. Can't be too bad. Just hold that there together till it grabs. And then this, there we go. Whoa, becomes our magic box. Whoa, it's come out of its holder. Just let me put that back in. This bit, for some reason, is not. Let me just open this up again. I don't think it's because I haven't burnished these edges properly. So let's just see what it's doing. And as with all live television, you know, we'll have problems. When you make the sample, it doesn't happen. So let's push that back in and glue it in place. There. Oh, what's happened with that one? I'm going to try and pull this out a bit. I think it's because I haven't, there we go. We'll just keep working on that. I need another pair of hands. So we'll go here. It's not normally like this. So let me, it's like it hasn't folded properly, and I think that's my fault. I haven't burnished the edges properly. But that's how the magic box works. So let's just see if we can force it into that position. Now that's not really neat, but I'll keep working on that. So that's how the magic box works. It comes down, so there you've got a box, and it opens up, and you can put whatever you like in. Now, like I said, I'm going to decorate this with this was called a circle monogram 1. So I'm going to push that back down. I think it's that there. Right. There. Now I'm going to make that the back. There's the front of my box, and I'm going to put that maybe there. So first of all, I'm going to glue this piece onto there. I want it to be up straight like that. Oops, better put it the right way. And it's just going to happy birthday in there. Sort of eyeballed it. It's make sure it's got equal amounts, whatever. And then here I will put this on with some, will I glue it or will I? No, I might put some dots on it. So let's see how we go. These are, I'm not sure, 2mm, I think. So that's, I think they're, I don't think they're 1/4 inch, so maybe an 1/8. And then here, this will go here, roughly. Yep. So there's my happy box, my impossible magic box. Now, this, I'm going to work on that after, but I'll show you, because the other ones haven't done that, so I'll have to work out what I've done there. So in here, I can put, I have, this is a scarf. Well, it goes around your neck. I'm not sure if it's a scarf or what it's called. If I fold it correctly, so if this was a gift for a friend, which this is going to be, and then I can just fold it over and fold it up. I can actually, I don't think I folded that properly, but it did fit in my one that I made. The scarf fits in. Scarf's in, and then the box, I have to, this is, yeah, something's not right here. But that's how it fits in there. Also, I'll show you the other one that I've done because something's not right with the top of that. As you can see, this one's perfect. So this paper also came from Creative Fabrica. It was called, I think it's Bear in the Snow. Again, but that's what I was saying before about the directional. If I'd have cut that on the side, it'd look odd. I just used some of the different ones on the top and the side. This is another one of the circle monograms, but this one I put Merry Christmas on. This fits in here, you know, quite, and that's how it's supposed to work. So it just comes up and down, and you put your whatever you want in there. Put my scarf in. And in she goes, and then there's the magic box. So there's the gift for someone. It can also take, if you've got some, I've got some hand cream, some foot cream, comes in a little gift pack. This is a eau de toilette that goes in there. Actually, probably need to put that one in first in the corner. Then some cream and some hand and nail care. So again, that'll fit in there, which I can give as a friend to a friend as a gift. Or I've also got some, some chocolates that I could fill it with. I don't know how many that was, but there we go. And there's some chocolates in there. So you could use it, you know, to give as a gift. You could thank you gift, you know, whatever you want to use it for. The other one I did was, this was the 12 by 12. So you can see it's actually, it's a little bit bigger that way, and it's a little bit wider. So it's not hugely different, but it is a little bit, there's a little bit of width there. And it's about the same that way, but it's more around the height. This one I actually can fit in here. This is a bottle of perfume. If I, you know, wanted to, that fits in there perfectly. So that's my magic box. Like I said, I will work on this to see what I have done differently here. I can see what I've done. It's this bit here that's not creased properly, and that's because I didn't burnish it properly before I glued it. So, but other than that, you can see that it works, and there's the magic box. When I was saying before about this paper, so this one I actually put paper right up to the top, but it's a very thin paper, so there's no risk of it actually catching as it comes down. If you were using a thick cardstock like these ones, I've only gone part way, because the mechanism would catch on the top of the paper. So there's my magic box that I've made. Any questions at all, I'm more than happy to help anybody through it. If there's any, you know, help, like I said, it's all about the proper folding of this. I'll undo this and fix it, and I might post a proper picture later to make sure that people understand that it can be done. But here's the other ones that I've made. So you can actually see the top is supposed to go together quite perfectly, and then it just pops up and down, and then, yeah, fill it with whatever you'd like to put in it. Okay, thanks everyone. Bye for now.